All right, this is New Script on the Block. I'm Alyssa Eshelman here with Grahm Pritchard and Sidney Smith. Yeah, Smith's your last name, correct?
I hope so.
Okay. It is now, we've decided.
I hope so.
And today we're doing a guest writer episode, and we're going to be reading the scripts for the web series Alone. Is that fair? Like, definitely plan is for web, yeah?
I've been having some conversations. I've been going back to maybe doing a full length, possibly. So.
Hi.
Sorry.
It's okay. Of course, the second we were like, hey, we're not going to wait anymore, we're just going to roll it, then she shows up.
I wasn't sure.
Well, I don't even have my phone on
Don't
me.
pick on the person who brings me my food.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. You're right.
Okay.
Thank you, Ashley. You're a hero.
If you need anything else, just yell for me.
Spin my sandwich or something if I need it right now. Thanks a lot for that.
Oh, God. All right, so Sidney, just to get started, if you could talk a little bit about, who you are as a creator, like how you got into filmmaking, maybe would be a good start.
Yeah, sure. Actually, my creativity began with stand-up comedy, so that's what I do full-time as a profession. But wanting to write film of some sort has been something I wanted to do for as long as I can remember, just not knowing how to do it. So I locked myself in my office a few years ago and sat down and self-taught myself. The formats and so on and so forth. I knew where I wanted to start my first script that I wrote and how I wanted to end, which normally goes for all of the things I write, just how my brain kind of works. But I had no idea on how to map it together and make it work. So that's how I got to this point. I don't know if you want to call me a filmmaker yet, because I've yet to really film anything, but I write a ton of things and still in the process of trying to put the good team around me to be able to film something.
So you say that you were a stand-up comedian. Were a lot of your first scripts kind of comedy, or?
I've yet to write one comedic script.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I have one that I've sketched out, fleshing out somewhat right now. But yeah, I've written 4 different scripts. None of them have been comedy at all.
Just more like storytelling or slice of life type projects?
Definitely storytelling. Maybe a little bit of slice of life here and there. Just depending on whose life you're talking about, I guess.
Very cool.
And as a stand-up comedian, can you talk a little bit about, first of all, do you have any particular style of comedy that you veer toward, or is there any inspiration behind your comedy?
I would say that my hero, if I have to have a hero, not being a strong word, Chris Rock.
Okay.
So I always want to educate somewhere in there when I'm on stage for 45 minutes to an hour, as well as entertain you. So that's what I always strive to do. As far as having just one style, no, I'm not someone who likes to just be able to do one thing. So I'm always out trying different styles. You have a style of a comic who's and we've all know him, high energy, hyper. You have the guy who just sits down. You have the guy who leans on the wall. You have the guy who just low tones you for an hour. I practice all those different things because you never know what you're going to encounter when you have a show. So.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I know right now you're doing a few different podcast series. Could you talk a little bit about what those are about and
Yeah, so Monday nights, and right now everything's in the format of the Facebook Live right now. I really like the visual medium. I think most people do. It also allows people to jump in with their questions, the audience, and things like that, so I enjoy that as well. More so for them because even when I don't like to talk to people a lot, to be honest with you. So I normally don't. After a show, I really don't want to talk to anyone all that much. I mean, I will, but it's not my favorite thing to do. So I really started these so that I can have these conversations with people on different topics. So on Monday nights, every Monday, 6 p.m., I do Now That's Debatable with 2 of my very good friends, comedian Dion Curry out of Indy, and then Stan Pearson, award-winning motivational speaker out of Atlanta. So the 3 of us do that, and we'll have 3 different topics we'll touch on. And the audience really likes to take part. Depending on the topic, depending on how much interaction we're having, we may just stick to just doing the one. I like to keep it around 30 minutes, 40 minutes at the most, but the last couple of weeks we've gotten to an hour and a half a couple of weeks ago. So it just depends. I kind of let the audience take control to a certain extent. Then you have Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. as well. I do Kiss and Tell, with Tell being spelled T-A-L-E. And with that one, every couple of weeks I have on a different friend from a different background, whether it be an actor, comedian. Just last week I had on a good friend of mine who is a dancer. But they come on and they share the best or the worst story of sex that they've ever had, the worst night of sex.
Nice.
And so that one has been becoming a favorite for some folks. But then what I do every third week, I bring on Dr. Lori C. Ebert, who is a sex coach. and she comes on and she has these discussions that we'll come up with, and then she'll answer questions from the audience as well. Next week we are set out to discuss sexual trauma. So we'll dig deep into that next week. So, and then we have the talk back, which is I just bring on whoever I feel like I want to have on and talk to them. Could be you. Again, could be any one of my friends. We come on, we talk, and the audience asks a ton of questions. And that when they really guide, the audience really guides which way that show's going to go. So every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
So talk back is one of them, correct?
The talk
and
back,
then,
yeah.
Now that's debatable. Is that just things that you come up with any kind of topic that you can talk about, or do you usually have like a general topic that you talk about on each podcast?
So the general topic is the guest. So the guest. So think of anything you watch with the Tonight Show, with Fallon or anything. The guest is on. I'm going to ask them questions about their career, their life. We're going to dig deep. It won't be surface things. I find it to be boring, but the conversation can turn at a dime. A few weeks back, I had on a good friend of mine who's an author, and we were talking about his work and what he's getting ready to, what he's working on now. And for some reason, we got into the U.S. female soccer team. And then it turned into a debate between the male audience members and the female audience members about the female soccer team. Okay, cool. Which was odd because the females were completely against them and the men were for them. So, and that's kind of how it goes.
That's odd.
But as far as now that's debatable, yeah, we'll talk about 3 topics, and normally those would be 3 trending hot topics.
Okay. So like pop culture type stuff, or
it can be anything. It could be it could be that. But most importantly, we have to be interested in it. The 3 of us. So that's where we go with it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, again, you can find those on Facebook, so be sure to go check out Sidney's projects and give them a like and comment at him to participate.
Absolutely. Jump in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. So I know today we're doing Alone, and I know this is something you've been working on for a bit, and I know you just mentioned that it's still kind of shaping and molding because now we're thinking maybe it might be longer episodes, or do you want to talk about your process when you started writing this and where it came from?
I can't tell you where it came from, to be honest with you, because I don't know where most of the stuff comes from. Just pops in my head. But as far as my process, again, going back to I get a beginning, I get an ending, just how can I make it work? What do I want the characters to say? Do they speak to me? Then anyone who's written knows that they end up just having a voice of their own, and they just kind of they speak, and you just write the shit down. As far as having longer episodes, I think the episodes are going to be what they're going to be for the most part. It's just going to be, and I wrote it with the intent in mind to be able to go the route of a web series and break it up, or have it be a full feature. So it will be no big deal for it to be either or. I just wanted to make sure that it had the right vehicle for it. I don't do anything for hobbies. I don't have any hobbies. So whatever I do, I just want to make sure it has the right thing going forward to make it a success.
Gotcha. And in your process of getting this project kind of launched and up off the ground, right now, are you still kind of in a phase of creative, like you're still writing, or are you transitioning into any planning or pre-production to?
Well, right now I am still writing. Just had a writer's block actually for the last 3 weeks, so just now I've been able to kind of sit down and kind of go back to it. Now, I originally wrote this about 2 years ago and had set it aside. So I had a conversation with Whitney Cummings and Sarah Silverman when I was out at the Comedy Store and kind of pitched the idea to them, and they loved it. And that kind of put my focus back on it to say, okay, maybe this is the one, because originally when I sat down with you, I had something else in mind that I was going to shoot first. And so I decided this was going to be it. So I kind of picked it back up. In terms of planning, with this being my first time doing all of this, I'm kind of learning as I go. I've had some discussions with people that, no, you want to plan it now before it's done. I'm more of a person who normally likes to have things done before I move on to the next process. That's normally my way of going about things. But being new to your industry, I'm trying to learn it as I go. So I'm trying to plan it as I'm writing it, but we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Trying's good.
I don't like to have people. I don't like to have people in place for things.
Yeah.
Unless the thing is ready to go.
I
Makes
understand
sense.
that. Yeah.
My time is valuable, and I assume that other people's time is valuable as well.
Yeah.
So
That's very respectful.
I know you said you were fairly new to this. Is this something that you want to produce? Are you willing to just kind of give it to a producer and let go of the reins?
No.
Where do you see yourself in the production portion of this?
I control everything that I do. So that will be anything that I write as well. So no, I won't sell anything. I won't let someone take it. No, I'll be involved heavily. My initial part of this or whatever gets shot, I'll sit back as a co-director, kind of learn from that standpoint, and then from there I'll direct everything that I write and I shoot.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm ready to hop in whenever.
Yeah, I am too.
All right.
Are you okay with us diving in?
You guys want to jump? Are we going with the first episode or webisode or?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd like to do them in chronological just to
Okay.
make things easy to follow.
All right.
So there are 3 characters in the first one, so that works out pretty easily. I can do Vanessa.
Maybe Junior.
Okay, and then if you could read for Senior.
Sure.
And then do you want to read narration since it's, you know it really well?
It's all you.
Episode 1. Junior finds out Senior is back. Fade in. Interior Hawkins home day, 1988. Terrence Jr., 6 years old, dances into the kitchen while singing along to Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. His mother, Vanessa, mid-20s, His mother, Vanessa, mid-20s, is placing her younger son, Dion, in his high chair. Vanessa then turns, smiles, and starts to sing and dance with Terrence Jr. The song ends. Vanessa laughs and appears to be a bit out of breath. Boy, you are too much.
Let's dance to another one, Mama.
Junior, you're trying to kill your mama? Terrence Jr. frowns. Maybe after dinner. Terrence Jr. smiles. Vanessa grabs her apron.
One day, I'm going to have all the money in the world, and you ain't going to have to cook no more, Mama.
I can't wait, baby. She kisses Junior on the cheek, then leads him to the dinner table. Now come on, I'll give you some crackers to snack on until dinner is ready. Junior sings Thriller as he climbs up to the table. He begins to munch on the crackers that are brought to him. He shudders when he hears the front door boom shut. He sees Senior has entered the house. Terrence Senior, 30s, leans against the wall.
Nessa.
Senior smiles at Junior as he drunkenly moves through the house.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, son.
Senior kisses both of the boys on top of the head. He then looks at an empty dinner table. He turns toward Vanessa.
What the fuck, Nessa?
Senior walks toward Vanessa.
Do I have to work all day and make my own damn dinner?
I
work hard to make sure there's food on that table.
I'm sorry. I was singing and dancing with the boys. I lost track of... Terrence slaps Vanessa. He falls against the sink.
You lost track of time?
Terrence Sr. moves toward their frightened sons.
What if you didn't have those kids?
Vanessa grabs... Oh, sorry.
No,
Do you want to do another one of that?
No. I wrote the damn thing and I can't read it, so go ahead.
Vanessa grabs Terrence Sr.'s arm. No, don't hurt them. Senior snatches away from Vanessa.
You think I'd actually hurt my sons?
Terrence Sr. stares at Vanessa.
What if you weren't carrying that third one?
Vanessa looks surprised.
Oh, you didn't think I'd find out you were pregnant?
I'm sorry. I thought you might stop at the bar and have a few beers with the... Terrence Sr. slaps Vanessa again and she falls on the floor.
This is the shit I'm talking about. You're always bitching about my drinking.
Senior takes off his belt.
Instead of running your mouth, you need to have your black ass in this kitchen.
Terrence Sr. grabs Vanessa by her hair and begins beating her with the belt. Terrence Jr. watches the violence and tears begin to stream down his face. Oh. Interior, Hawkins' home, bathroom, 20 years later. Terrence Jr., mid-20s, sits on a stool in the bathroom with tears streaming down his face. His left shirt sleeve rolled up. The arm is littered with scars. He moves the razor towards his arm. Terrence speaks to himself in a low tone.
I'm so damn tired of this shit.
He snickers to himself.
I just want to die. It's got to be easier.
Junior begins to cut his arm from his forearm in a downward direction when he hears his mother's voice. Junior, we need to talk. Terrence stops his task. He takes a deep breath. Boy, did you hear me? We need to talk. Senior is back in town. Terrence puts the razor on the sink.
Damn. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
No, it is yours. I put senior, should be junior. It is
Oh,
yours. Go
okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
Damn, what the hell is he doing back here? It's been 20 fucking years. I can't let Mama find out. Like the little teaser at the end, leaving the audience wanting more.
Oh, well, thank you. Hopefully they actually want more.
Hopefully someday soon you'll know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Tis the plan.
Well, hopping into episode 2, Meet the Siblings. Fade in, interior Hawkins home day. Junior enters the kitchen wearing a long sleeve button up and Nike basketball shorts. Vanessa sits at the table drinking a cup of coffee. Vanessa gives him a peculiar look.
What?
That's an interesting outfit, son. Junior looks down at himself.
I suppose so.
Are you going to church or to the gym? Vanessa laughs. Junior sits down.
I can't believe you're joking right now. This is serious.
I know this is serious.
I'm going to find him. Because if he lays a hand on you...
Let me deal with this, Terrence.
I'm not a kid anymore, Mama. I can handle him.
You got more than enough to deal with right now. Vanessa touches Junior on his arm. Junior winces.
I'm capable of dealing with my issues and handling this too, Ma.
Have you been talking to the pastor?
Oh, Ma, that's not for me.
God can heal all wounds, Junior. There's a spirit of depression inside you, boy.
Ma.
Now, I don't want to hear anything else about it. I'm going to call the pastor and set something up.
Are we going to pray for Senior to go away too?
Boy, don't play with God. Lawrence and I will figure out how to deal with Senior.
Lawrence.
Vanessa gets up and pours another cup of coffee. Look, I need you to concentrate on getting yourself together so you can move on with your life. Junior sighs.
I'm trying.
Vanessa walks over and puts her hand on Junior's shoulder. Baby, I'm not rushing you out of here, but I'm not going to coddle you either. Junior sighs again. I just need you to try a little harder to be happy.
Okay, I'll try harder.
Good. And pray. And not a word of this to your brother or sister. I don't want them knowing he's back. Vanessa gives Junior a stern look. He'll be gone soon enough. Okay?
Okay, Mama.
Vanessa rubs Junior's head. My baby. Now, I need to go lay down. Senior's giving me the biggest headache. Vanessa walks out of the kitchen and Terrence shakes his head. Boy, you stop shaking your head at your mama. Interior Dion's bedroom day. Dion, 24 years old, is laying in his bed while Renee, mid-30s, is getting dressed.
You know I love you, right?
Silence.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I heard you, but I don't think so.
Why would you say something like that? I'm telling you that I do.
Renee walks around the room. Have you seen my other shoe?
Renee.
Come on, Dion, don't do this.
Do what?
Make this complicated.
Complicated?
Yes, we fuck. That's all we do. Oh, found it! Renee slips on her shoe. Look, we come to this room and we fuck. Don't get me wrong, it's cool.
It's cool.
But that's all this is.
Is it my fault that we can only make love in here?
Don't be a pain in the ass.
My point is, I love to do more with you. Outside of here.
Why don't we just take some time and see where this is going?
I know where this is going.
Renee smiles. You think you love me? You don't know.
I know what I need to know, Renee.
You don't know me the way you need to know me. Renee leans in and kisses Dion's forehead. She grabs her coat. Maybe we'll talk about this later. Renee heads for the door.
Hey, I'm young, but I'm not a kid.
Then stop acting like a child. Renee exits the room. Dion lays in the bed. Interior, Darnell House Day. There is a loud banging that comes from the front door of Darnell's apartment. Darnell, 20 years old, walks over to the door.
The way you're knocking on my door, you better be the police.
Darnell swings the door open and sees smiling Lindsay Hawkins, 20 years old, smiling at him. I'm sure as shit you don't want the police here. Lindsay walks in and kisses Darnell. But if you do, I could always ask Lawrence to stop by. Darnell pulls Lindsay towards him.
Why are you beating on the door like a psycho?
I need a little something. Studying for these midterms is driving me insane, babe.
This way, madame.
They both laugh. Lindsay follows Darnell into the living room. If I don't ace these midterms, my mama is going to be up my ass. The both of them sit on his couch. I'm supposed to have dinner with the Hawkins. I so don't want to go. Darnell reaches under the table and pulls a shoebox out.
I wonder if your brothers will go at it.
You don't need to wonder.
Some people would kill to have a family that sits down together for dinner.
Lindsay smirks. What are you, the drug dealer with a heart of gold? She puts her hand out. Darnell hands vial.
This should get you through your midterms, babe.
Good. Lindsay opens it and taps a small amount of white powder on the table, forms lines. She pulls a straw from her bag.
My cousin dropped this off to me. It's supposed to be.
Lindsay snorts a line. Whew! Good shit. Lindsay offers some to Darnell.
You know I don't do that shit.
Gotcha. Lindsay jumps up from the couch, heads for the door. Gotta go.
Hey, I thought we were going to...
I might see you tomorrow. That history midterm is going to be a bitch. Darnell leans back on the couch and takes a deep breath.
We have Lawrence in this one.
Yeah, so if you do Junior, if you could read for Lawrence, Sidney, I'd appreciate that. And then I can still read Vanessa. At the end of this, she goes to the bar. Oh, yeah, and Michelle and Brandy show up. I mean,
I can do a girl voice for Michelle. It's
Do
not
you-
going
do
to
you-
be very good.
I believe it. Yeah, Graham's girl voices are not.
I gotta hear it.
not
They're
the-
horrendous.
Yeah, but I gotta
not
hear
the
it. I gotta
best.
hear it. I gotta hear this stuff.
I will say though, like we on the last recording we did have 4 people. I could grab Ashley. I mean,
I
just
mean, if she
because
wants to join in.
Michelle, Vanessa, and Brandy was a little overwhelming. Also, is the bartender male or female? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter for this. He is male
Yeah.
because he does talk about. She does ask about his wife.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah, but it can be
I didn't
whoever.
notice that.
It's 2020.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
should I grab Ashley?
Yeah, I think that would make
Okay.
things a little easier for this one,
Let's do
if
that.
that's okay.
Yep.
We're phoning it in. We're calling in a friend.
There you go. There you go. Bring that show back.
Episode 3, The Meet. Fade in. Interior Hawkins home day. Junior walks into the kitchen and sees Vanessa putting her keys in her purse.
Where are you going, Ma?
Vanessa doesn't respond to the question.
Look, I've been thinking.
We talked about this. Junior walks over and stands in front of the door. Vanessa appears to be losing her patience.
You shouldn't be seeing him, Mama.
Junior tries to guide Vanessa to a chair. She is reluctant.
I'm
but
sorry. Does anyone else entertain when he says "mama"?
It feels weird. I don't usually say it.
Yeah.
No. You got to say it, obviously. But man, it's just
It does sound
for
off.
2.5 pages or 2.5 episodes.
You're
I'm
dying the
trying to
whole time.
Mama.
Yeah, it's great having the youngest staff member reading.
Can we
this
pick it up at
picture.
Mama?
Yeah,
Can we
we
pick it
can
up at
definitely
Mama?
pick it up at Mama.
You shouldn't be seeing him, Mama.
Junior tries to guide Vanessa to a chair. She's reluctant, but takes a seat.
Thank you. Just give me 2 seconds.
Vanessa smiles and sits down.
Great.
Now I'll be hesitant the whole script
Yeah.
through.
This is the only reason I fuck with you about it. Go ahead.
Mama, I've never doubted you or your strength, the things I've seen you go through.
Junior,
But this just isn't a good idea.
I am capable of taking care of myself. Junior jumps up from his seat.
I can't forget the day that man beat you in the kitchen. You still love him? Is that why you're running to him?
Vanessa seems shocked by the question. I'm not running to him. And yes, I still have love for him. How could I not? He gave me 3 beautiful children. Vanessa grabs Junior's face and kisses his forehead. She grabs her purse and heads for the door. I'll be back soon. Junior sits alone. He doesn't see his stepfather. Lawrence 50s enters the kitchen.
Your mother can take care of herself.
You were standing there listening the whole time? You could have said something to her.
You think I didn't?
Lawrence leans against the kitchen counter.
She's stronger than you think.
Junior stands and walks towards Lawrence.
I know she's strong. You should have gone with her.
You know your mother. What she wants is what she wants.
What if he knows and he tells her what we did?
Then we all will have some truths to deal with when that time comes.
You talk like you're okay if this comes out.
No, I'm just tired, son.
I am too, but
We did what was necessary.
Exterior, outside of the corner store, day 1988. Junior exits the store, opening a bag of chips.
Junior.
Junior looks up and sees Lawrence standing next to his car and smiles. Lawrence waves him over, and Junior heads towards him.
hey, Uncle Lawrence.
Hey, you need a ride home?
Nah, I'm gonna eat my chips before I get home so Mama don't get mad.
Your secret is safe with me.
I know, that's why I told you.
Lawrence looks at Junior while he eats his chips.
Junior, I know what your daddy did to your mama.
Junior doesn't make eye contact.
I'm not supposed to talk about...
We can keep her safe if you help me.
Junior looks up at Lawrence with an inquisitive look.
How?
Lawrence reaches in the back seat and brings forward a square-shaped package wrapped in tape. Junior stares at the package. Back to present.
You gave this family 20 years of peace, and for now, it's still a secret.
Secrets. What's a secret?
Junior and Lawrence are startled by Brandy, 25 years old, by Brandy's voice. She is 25 years old, sorry. They turn and see her standing just inside of the house.
Brandy, what did I tell you about sneaking up on people, girl? That's how people get shot.
Brandy walks into the home. She is trailed by her cousin, Michelle, 20s. Brandy gives Lawrence a hug and a kiss on the cheek.
Come on, Daddy Neil. You know your gun probably got dust on it.
You're probably right. But I will make you go out and cut me a switch. Go cut me a switch.
Now you have my attention.
I thought so. Now, who's this young lady?
Oh, this is my cousin Michelle. She just got in from Detroit last night.
We've known Brandy her whole life. I can't believe we've never met you.
I can. You know black people don't travel like that.
Yeah, my mom is still afraid to fly.
Okay. But she will drive to Mississippi.
Both girls laugh.
That's really the only time we got to be together when we were kids. Those family reunions every summer.
Well, I'm glad you're finally able to visit. Michelle and all the kids call me Daddy Neil.
He used to be the only nice cop in town.
I was the only black cop for the longest time, so I just wanted to be someone that the kids could come to.
Did it work?
For some, not as many as I hoped.
You tried. He's a good dude.
Lawrence throws an arm around Brandy's neck.
Thanks for the props. Do you kids still say props?
No. No, we don't.
Noted. yeah, they're supposed to be funny, so hopefully
It was, yes.
All right.
Very relatable.
Yeah, my dad does that to me all the time. Props. You kids still say props? No, we don't. We don't say it. No, we don't.
No. So just,
Now play it. All right. You three are going to have to excuse me. Got some stuff to finish up before your mama gets back.
Points at Brandy.
You, stop snooping.
yes, sir.
Brandy salutes. Lawrence exits. When you said your line, did you feel the salute in it? Because I did.
Oh, okay, good. That's what I was
heard
going for. What was all that about?
What?
Boy, don't play with me.
I'll talk to you about it later.
Cool. Well, we came by to see if you want to bring your ass out of the house.
Brandy starts grinding on Junior.
We can take my cousin out to the club.
Girl, get off that man.
You're already my favorite, Michelle. I don't know. I have so much shit to do.
Brandy and Michelle look around. Yes, I see.
Yep. Very busy. Tons to do.
If it's me.
Girl, if you don't quit.
No, I just have a lot going on. I really do.
There is an awkward silence among the three. Can I use your restroom?
Of course. Go right through there and make a right.
Thanks. Michelle exits.
Now tell me what's up.
Senior's back.
Brandy punches Junior in the shoulder.
You're lying.
Brandy slowly sits on the couch.
I need to take this in. Where the hell has he been?
I don't know. I don't know shit. Ma said she wants me to stay away from him.
That might be the best situation, bro.
I can't allow him to tell her whatever he thinks happened. None of them can know.
Fuck, Junior. You were 6 years old. That's on Lawrence.
That's the same shit he was saying.
She looks at his arm and nods towards it. There's blood on his shirt.
Good. Because you're not having a good day.
I did this before I knew about Senior.
You think that makes it better?
Silence between the two.
Hey, I know you feel like you got to do what you got to do, but I'm here.
Brandy stands up, walks over to Junior, and hugs him deeply. She begins to cry.
If nobody else gives a fuck, I do.
Interior of the bar day. Vanessa walks in the front door of the bar. The bartender sees her and smiles.
Hey, Vanessa. He said you were coming, but I wouldn't have believed it if...
Hey, how you doing?
You know, I'm still here. So that's either a blessing or...
I know, right? Where is he?
Waiting for you over there.
The bartender nods. Is he drinking as usual?
No, ma'am. He said he gave it up. Maybe he found Jesus.
Vanessa lets out a laugh. He couldn't find Jesus even if he was sitting in that booth with him. Vanessa continues to laugh until she notices the judging look on the bartender's face. What I mean is, we all have the capability of changing and finding salvation. Where did you say he was?
He's over there.
You tell Sharon I said hey.
Will do.
Vanessa walks over to the booth and sees Senior waiting with a glass of water in front of him. Senior looks up and then dryly nods to the seat across from him. Vanessa slides into the booth. Why am I here? More importantly, why are you here? Terrence smiles and leans in.
Took me 20 years, but I know what you did, and now my kids are going to know too.
Bum,
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah. So I have like no context. Of any of these characters.
She's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
What happened?
Something's about to go down.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Well, thanks, Ashley.
Yeah. No problem.
Thank you. Nice work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Glad I could help. All right. I'll
And
make a swift
she disappeared.
exit.
Oh gosh, where'd Ashley go? This podcast is brought to you by Arizona Studios. Arizona Studios, a full-service video content specialist. We're here to illuminate your message and compel your audience to take the right action. For more information, head to our website at arizonastudios.com and be sure to tune in for more content on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. All right, awesome.
Well, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I was fortunate to get to read a version of these before this current copy. Mm-hmm. So I've gotten to see like how much it's changed and developed in the span of only maybe a month or so since then. Yeah. I really love Grahm, like from you in a raw sense, like what are the things that you are curious about or questions you have about the way it's told or the characters?
I mean, I guess there was only one time where I really was confused because I didn't know about Terrence and Lawrence's relationship, and it seems like they're pretty close. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just more like direction when you get on set and how you want people to deliver lines.
Right.
But when Vanessa first brings up Lawrence and she talks, and she brings up Lawrence, and then Terrence Jr. is like excited about Lawrence. Is that how it's supposed to be delivered, or?
I interpreted it as he's mad that she's implying that Lawrence is a part of this, but I'm not.
Right.
Like,
okay.
Oh, so he gets to help you, but I can't.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Even though
sense.
they're both adult men at this point in the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. I wish I would have got to read the before and after to see how much it progressed. She told me a little bit about the things that you've changed, but overall I think it's captured my attention, and I think that you having teasers at the end to kind of, especially if it is going to become a web series or whatnot, I think that's really good to keep people interested. It wasn't really anything that I was confused about. Trying to think.
Okay, I'm going to ask. So this is an ensemble cast, and there's a lot of people going on, even as the story goes on. Where any real life inspirations for any of the characters? Where do you drive your characters' personalities from?
There was some, Vanessa is a combination of women that I've known growing up. who were contradictory, even within themselves. And as the story builds and you get to the end, you get to see that. But I think even you get to see it even within the first 3 webisodes that we read, if you will. How she was when it came to speaking about God, and how she was with Junior and prayer and that type of thing, versus how she was about Senior at the bar and joking about him and salvation, and he couldn't find it, and that is always a no-no in the Black community, within our religion, whether it be Baptist or Apostolic or whatever have you. But you see that people do that often.
Yeah.
That they wear those 2 different faces.
I that's something, just to kind of give some context to the audience too. Something that has adjusted since the last drafts I've read and recently is I do feel like we honed in more on Vanessa's religious feelings and preferences, and I feel that really worked to the favor of the character and establishing this dynamic that she and her son have.
Yeah, because on the face of it, how it was written before, and I'm still to this point now, I know that this piece, like many things I write, will be more for the African American community more than it will be for anyone else. And sometimes I think anyone, when you are writing or creating for that particular community or any other community, you know that they're going to get certain things that don't need to be fully explained.
For sure.
While someone who does not come from that community, okay, well, let me make this show up and be a little bit more prevalent up front, at least a hint to it.
For sure.
To up so other, not to so much draw other people in, but if you just happen to be someone who's watching it, that way you can at least be caught up in what's going on.
I feel like in general, a lot of the dialogue additions, and especially the added flashback sequence with Lawrence and young Terrence Jr., those things helped build the relationships of all the characters really well, so that you get a better tone of the dynamics they have with each other. Like, I definitely feel like reading it this time around and getting to see that flashback sequence establishes this almost friendly dynamic between Junior and Lawrence that we didn't necessarily have as much of before. And then it makes you more invested in the fact that they're kind of in cahoots with one another. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm not and when writing anything that I write, there's always some twist at the end. Yeah. So I'm always concerned with not giving too much of anything. I'm not a huge fan of flashbacks to begin with. Yeah. But you're right, it serves its purpose, because I can't remember at what point, but at a certain point, there is a conversation that's had between Senior and Lawrence. Yeah. And I do think that this flashback lends to that conversation that will come. For sure. Because that'll flesh out more of the relationship amongst all the older adults in the story.
And I even think, speaking to the scene with Renee and, is it Dion is the other brother?
Yeah, Dion.
So Renee and Dion, like, the dynamic in the first draft that I read felt worlds apart. Like, I almost feel like in this one you can see that she has a conflict of, he's cute, he's fun, I don't see this going anywhere, but I'm somewhat open to the potential, or at least it feels like there's an openness between them that wasn't there before. Do you feel like that's something?
I didn't change that scene.
Really?
I didn't change it at all. You just may have a different feel. No, you're just having a different feel from reading it this time. And for that one, and that's great that you interpret that way. Yeah. I think like any art is, however. For me, the way that it's written from a standpoint that she is an older woman. Yeah. She's done this, she's done that. You're feeling this certain way, I'll amuse you. Yeah. I'm amused by you. Yeah. But it's not, and you can see it in the conversation they have when she tries to tell him, you don't know me the way you need to know me. Yeah. And that is something that a grown woman would say to an immature man at the time when he thinks he's in love, and she's trying to tell you you're not.
Yeah. Okay. So from your perspective, it is like a closed, one-sided thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, she has no, and I think you see that again later in the story for sure. That is cemented, but definitely she's given the audience the hint of No,
Yeah.
this isn't what you think this is.
Yeah. So in your process, what do you feel like are the biggest things from when you started to now that have changed about your story?
Not too many things about this story. What I've gotten better at is I think I'm a better writer. I'm better in terms of being able to tighten up my dialogue,
Yeah.
change my dialogue, and get to the point that I want to make quicker, sooner. When you first figuring these things out and you're writing dialogue, you're writing this long dialogue, and sometimes you will sit down with someone, and people do speak that way, but you can't write it that way and perform it that way.
So are you still in the process of rewriting the other scripts, or
Yeah.
okay?
This actually just the other night, I rushed through. I was telling her I had my weekend was just so busy. I didn't get a chance to even look at this until Monday, and I wanted to sit down. So my Monday went from 6:30 in the morning to midnight. So I was just in the office doing everything I was doing on top of trying to get this completed so I can get it over to you guys, give you guys enough time to read it. So it's definitely still in the process of rewrites.
Was there something that motivated you to start rewriting it? Like, I'm guessing you completely finished your entire, like, this series is done.
That's done.
And you just wanted to go back and fix it? Is there something that motivated you?
No, I always write, and when I write, I just want to get it out and get it out. I'm not so much concerned with punctuation. I'm not so much concerned with getting it out. I'll go back and read through it, and even then, I'm still not worried so much about punctuation. I'm worried about formatting, things like that. But
just get your ideas on paper, basically.
But just going back and shorten it up, tighten it up, changing things.
Cool.
So.
And do you have like any character? What are they called?
Bios?
Yeah, like character bios and character trees.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah, I do everything. Everything's mapped out on a board before I even start writing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, everything starts here in my iPad Pro. And then from here, everything goes up onto the board and on index cards from there. So the whole thing is mapped out before I start writing it.
Nice. That's always awesome
cool.
to have.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's some of the process questions. Do you feel like there's any particular character in the story that you personally relate to the most?
No, I don't think there's any one that I relate to the most. I mean, again, all of them have different things that I know about other people's lives, or things from my life, or things from my personality, or could be something that I take from this fella here that could be in a character that I'm writing. But I'm never I'll kill someone or keep someone. It doesn't matter to me. It's whatever makes the story.
Gotcha.
Whole.
And what are some of the things you're hoping your audience are going to take away from it when they get the chance to see the whole thing?
For this one in particular, it's important for me that people understand, one, that black male characters are three-dimensional characters. I don't think you and I discussed this, we don't get seen as that often enough for me, for my taste in film or television or anything else for that matter. You can't just say that black guy character is that way without telling why or showing why. I don't care if he's a pimp. There's a reason why that man turned into a pimp. You don't fall out of your mother's womb as that type of person in real life or should be within a story. So to me, that is very important. Another thing that's very important to me is to also show that females are not always victims. They're not victims, as you see within the first 3 webisodes here. These women are strong women who are making their own decisions. If you're talking about Vanessa, Lindsay, or Renee, too many times females, especially black females, are shown as victims, and they're the victims of black men, which I don't care for. Sometimes you just have to. The story needs to be told truthfully and honestly. Everything that is happening to you is of your own making, and that is not highlighted enough. And so those are some things that hopefully people pull away from it.
Okay, cool.
So it sounds like Terrence Jr.'s like depressed. Is that kind of stem from his childhood, and is there a reason that you specifically wanted to have that like aspect in the story?
Yeah, because black men suffer from depression at a high rate. and no one thinks about it, no one talks about it. There's nothing written about it. There's nothing filmed about it. At least nothing that I'm aware of. Correct me or point me in the direction of some things that are.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
And we do suffer from it. Those conversations are had, not often, because again, as I tried to show early on, that's not something that the black community really deals with or allows. It's the same thing with homosexuality. If you remember, Vanessa speaks to it, his depression as being a spirit of depression. That's the same way that homosexuality is spoken about within the church community as well. There's a spirit. This is something that can be prayed away. This is something you go to the God for, so on and so forth. So I think you and I talked about this after you read it the first time.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that his family doesn't love him at all. They just have a different way of going about communicating things and fixing things. We don't do things as go sit on someone's couch. We don't go make a phone call and talk to a therapist. That's not what we're brought up to do, and that's just not part of our community.
This is a little off topic, but do you know who Barry Jenkins is?
Not ringing a bell off top.
Two of my favorite films, Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk. I think they have both very strong and really good messages. So if you haven't seen them,
I have not seen Moonlight. I am aware of Moonlight, but Barry Jenkins, no, the name did not ring a bell. But Moonlight, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, they're both very good movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
But specifically, that movie comes to mind because we're talking about how homosexuality is seen in the black community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other one is more about a black man being accused of,
Trying not to spoil, or trying to find the right phrasing?
No, it was kind of just out of the blue. So just wrongfully accused for a crime that he didn't do. So just both topics that are very prevalent right now, and just very strong stories.
Okay.
So
I would definitely check those out. What's the second one called?
If Beale Street Could Talk.
If Beale Street Could Talk. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look that one up.
Yeah.
So on the subject of depression and how that's common and under-acknowledged, why do you feel that is in the black community specifically?
Part of it is because we're overly religious, partially.
Okay.
The other part is black men are taught you're supposed to be strong. There is no crying. You suck it up, you move on, and those are probably the two major factors I would think in my mind and from my own experience.
So do you feel that sharing stories like yours are going to help open up conversations about that, or what are you hoping to bring to the community by having stories like this, I guess?
Well, I guess you can't hope for conversations.
Yeah.
I can only hope that people recognize what's going on and can kind of see it. And I'm more concerned if maybe it speaks to those that can actually relate to it. I don't hope for conversations within the black community because those are hard to come by.
Yeah.
But if that happens, that's a plus.
Yeah. Well, but by creating something, then, you create an opportunity for conversation, right?
But again, you can create it, you can put it out there. If someone relates to it, that's one thing. But to have the conversation, that's a whole nother step. So those two are not necessarily going to be something that's going to happen 1-2.
That's fair.
You can have the first, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the second.
Gotcha.
I can sit 10 black people in front of something along, it doesn't have to be this, something along these lines, and they're all going to take something different away from it, and will only talk about the things that they may be comfortable talking about amongst themselves. Anything else that they took from it that's taboo within our community, they may not ever mention.
So this piece seems to focus a lot or revolve a lot around family and those dynamics and relationships. Do you feel like is that something that's common in your other work, or do you feel like this is really the piece you're focusing on for that?
I would say for a couple of the others that I've written early on has had something to do with family, but not all, and plenty of things. I have 6 other projects I have sketched and fleshed out that are not so much connected with family. I have one that I'm working on fleshing out, I should say, that deals with the workplace and 5 different co-workers. So
nice.
I have another piece that I'm fleshing out now. Actually, I tried to start writing that last night. That didn't work so well.
Can you talk about that? When you say that didn't work well, just like life got in the way, or you mean that?
Yeah, just the words weren't coming to me. I still think it's a really good idea. I'm not really ready to set it on fire yet. Just the conversation wasn't coming. It's a one act.
Gotcha.
And it's a very important, and we can talk about it off once
sure.
we're done. But it's the one act, if you guys want. It's the one act, and it's just very important to me. And just didn't feel like the words were coming.
Damn.
Characters weren't speaking, so.
That sucks. So sometimes in that instance, right, like you're not hearing the voices to go into the dialogue writing, but you have at that stage already built kind of an outline or your tree and whatnot. Like I know you have your notes. So then I'm just curious, when you're writing dialogue, do you have any tips or tricks that help influence or bring about new inspiration if you're struggling?
No, honest to God, I don't have any. I was so baffled over the last 3 weeks of trying to get back to writing this. I even started Googling some different things. And, I mean, everyone has their own things. I have my things. They're going to work. They're not going to work.
Yeah.
And it could be any number of things depending on the writer, why you can't get the words to come out. For me, for this particular one, words were coming. I just didn't think that this was the conversation that would be had by these two people.
During those periods when you're not finding the right mindset for specific projects, are you ever working coincidingly on other things at the same time, or do you just take a break, or what works for you?
If I'm not getting the words, do I go move on to something else?
Yeah.
Are we talking about writing or any other project?
Well, I mean, that's tough to say because I would say writing, but then I know that you're also doing stand-up comedy and you're also doing your shows. And
yeah, I try not to write two projects at the same time.
Okay.
I have had questions about that, which I'm going to talk to a friend of mine who's an author, see what his take is on that. What do you guys think? But as well, please throw that in. But I'm not sure if that would be the right thing for me. I'm not quite sure. Do you guys write two different projects at once?
Well, I'm not a huge writer. I really struggle with dialogue, so I usually work with people that are writers or directors, so I don't really write my own pieces, so I'm not the best person to ask.
Yeah, he's mostly a DP. Yeah.
Okay.
I write a lot. I don't mind writing multiple projects at the same time. This is like, on the interviews I've listened to with professionals in the industry, a lot of them say that the hardest part is just finishing the work. Like, I love that you said something to the effect of, like, once you do it, you just got to get the whole thing down, right? Like, get the whole thing out and then go back and clean it up. I love that because that's what most professionals say is if you don't get the whole thing done and you don't write it all the way to the end your first time around, then you just keep putting it off and making excuses and letting it go, and then you never come back to it or it gets delayed. So I think that it's okay, once you've got the base down, I think it's okay to then say, okay, the base on this is down, I'm going to play with something else for a little while. Like I will work on a multitude of shorts in a period of time it takes to write like one feature, right? So lay down the base of the feature, okay, I'm losing my inspiration here. Let's play with a few shorter shorts so that I can write things that are quicker, easier to pop out and get the juices in your head flowing. And I find that helps me, again, like that helps revigorate my inspiration for whatever I was on that I fell off of.
And that goes right back to what I was saying, that every writer is going to be different in terms of what their process is going to be.
For sure.
And I say try anything, try everything.
Whatever.
I may try that at some point. And maybe it works for me, maybe it doesn't. We're just finicky creatures out there. I think creatives and
for sure
are we just have our thing, and I can't walk in my office, nothing can be out of place. It just fucks up my whole day. So just how my closet is color coordinated. It's just
mine is too.
It's all my shoe boxes. I still have all my Nike boxes. I have all the pictures of the shoes. I printed them out, cut them out, taped them onto the box. And I have like 80 pairs, so they're all stacked, and so I know where everything is. So it's just,
everybody's different. Yeah, I hear you.
I'm just saying, some ads for most things.
Yeah, well, that'll lend well when you start self-producing your stuff.
Yeah,
organization.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm just anxious to kind of get going, and but we'll see. It's tough to kind of want to make sure you're working with the right people as well. And everyone, it seems like everyone has a lot of things going. So
for sure, yeah. In terms of that, as someone who's kind of new to that, can you speak to what you've been doing or would recommend for people who are trying to start building a network in the community and find people?
I kind of, my way was kind of backwards, I think, because I tried to shoot something a few years back. with the mindset I'm just going to jump in there, I'm going to do it. And so I did the auditions, and I met some great friends who were established actors here and who've done some things outside of Arizona. So far as for myself and networking, that's how my networking began, was doing that, not by going to social groups or anything like that. So those are some people that I kind of turn to in terms of, I send them scripts, let them read them. They've introduced me to a couple other actors. In terms of trying to meet people who can shoot this thing or anything along those, I haven't had any luck really finding anybody that I really want to work with in that terms of that.
Yeah.
Some people say go out and hit ASU, see if you can get some interns to shoot it or something along those lines. I'm not sure if I want to go that route or not. Again, I'm very anal. I don't mind strangling people. I'm very demanding. So I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know if a student right out of school is going to be able to emotionally handle that kind of.
And you may be, and you may be right about that. I don't know. I didn't go to film school.
Yeah.
I have no desire to go to film school. I don't think film school is required.
Hey, we did go to film school, and we agree with you 100%.
And I'm only saying that from from my position, but from a lot of what I've read, and from a lot of what I've watched from other directors and producers have said.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the main thing that I think I got out of film school was networking itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, I learned things, but just meeting people and getting exposure to different types of sets, that's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also connection to resources, right? Like, the benefit of going to film school is that they have all of the gear you need, and you're paying tuition, which, don't get me wrong, either is direct out-of-pocket cost, a loan, or something to that effect.
Right.
So it's not free.
Right.
But it is kind of like hey, I can pay this off later versus I don't think you can go into a bank, get a small business loan to get your production gear to just become an independent filmmaker,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and at the same time, again, you research and read a lot of different things, say you don't need quite all of the gear that some people, I think some people put it in their head, and I know I was one of those people initially, years ago, where this is going to be too daunting. I gotta get this, I gotta get that, I gotta get this, I gotta get that. At the same time, while they say I can shoot something on this very expensive phone that I carry around in my pocket, at the same time, I don't know, is that going to give me the look and feel of what I want to come from the words that I've written.
Yeah.
You talk to some actors, they say all you need is a good script and a good cast, and shoot it on anything. It doesn't matter. If the script is good, if the cast is good, then it'll translate.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not. What do you guys think?
I mean, just from experience, I wouldn't do that. If you want a film to really come to, and this is coming from a DP, so
Right, he's biased.
of course it can still be really good, shot on a phone. I just think, in my opinion, you can bring a film to life with cameras, with lights. So I think it adds to a lot, and it can be seen as less amateur if you have that kind of equipment. And it doesn't need to be like really high dollar equipment, but I wouldn't shoot anything on a phone. That's just my opinion. But I don't know, go for it.
Producer brain. I think that it's about who your audience is and where you're going for distribution, because I agree that there is this YouTube mentality of the quality is not that important. And I do think that that is true. Here's the only problem with that, is that the people who succeed at it are either 1 in a million really lucky and their stuff goes viral, right? Which is extremely rare. I wrote an article recently about student filmmaking, and I used the short film Lights Out. Have you seen that one? Yeah, I use that as an example because it is like a 1 in a million case, right? Like, not a lot of people, very few, hardly any ever, put out a short film on YouTube. It's kind of low quality, and people love it. It blows up, and then it gets turned into a much bigger production and gets better financing.
Right.
The other side is going the route of, again, like lower quality YouTube content, but it has influencers that back that, right? Like someone who already has an audience that's established, someone who has a presence that's established. And filmmakers can build those partnerships, right? You have something to contribute to someone who already has an audience with your creativity and your ideas and your work. So it's not to say you can't go that route, right? But it is hard to start from ground zero, be working with something very low quality, and capture a whole new audience.
Right. Yeah, And that was something with the project that I was working on initially. I told you I was kind of jumped too far out there trying to shoot it, and we did start shooting it, and just we didn't get very deep into it. But the cast loved it.
Yeah.
And it's a good script. It is a good script. It's a good story. But not knowing what you don't know at the time, you think you're going to be able to do what you think you're going to be able to do. But looking now at it, speaking to what you were saying, you need influencers.
Yeah.
Could this get on Netflix? Sure, but you need at least one somebody.
Yeah.
That's going to start. All these different things you figure out that you're going to need. Web series, you're speaking right to that, to kind of what we talked about, needing someone to kind of jump on board and be a part of it, to kind of get the word of mouth out on it. Otherwise, you're just out there drifting.
Yeah, and then again, I think that to what Grahm said though, you can mitigate some of that with quality, but not all of it, right? Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier, all the research you've been doing on distribution and how much hard work you have to put into marketing your film. Mm-hmm. That's 100% always the case, no matter the quality of the project. Mm-hmm. The difference is if you have really quality content and crew, in addition to really good marketing on your own, mm-hmm. then you can mitigate the need for things like influencers who already have an audience, because you can quickly start growing an audience.
Right.
But it's a lot harder to very quickly acquire an audience if you're not popping out content consistently, and a lot of it, and it's not quality. Right.
Yeah. So, and which is why I do the Facebook Live shows the way I do it. Why I went with the software that I use. It gives me a lot of freedom to create different art for it, and I can do different transitions. And with so many people out there doing their own thing, especially over the quarantine, their own shows or doing their side by sides, whatever. Mm-hmm. I think there's an easy way to kind of stand yourself apart from everyone else if what you're putting out looks more professional.
For sure.
And I would think the same with film, and that will be the route that I go.
I mean, trying to gain an audience any way you can and
which you're
drag
lucky,
them.
You come from stand-up, so I mean, at least you have kind of a captive audience to plug and pull.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's why I'm even more sensitive about what things look like when I produce them.
Yeah,
because
people already know you.
People expect a certain thing from me to begin with, whether it's comedy, whether it's a Facebook Live, whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
So this has to fall within those guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no, just gaining an audience however you can. If they like you, then they're going to follow your other type of work. Right. So however you can gain an audience, I think is awesome. Yeah,
right now, I want to use the Facebook Live and the comedy, of course, but the Facebook Live shows right now are gaining traction. I'll look later today, but for this past Monday, I think this will be the first time we break over 1,000 views.
That's awesome.
I don't know why it jumped. We've been averaging about 350 for the first 6 weeks.
Also being good and consistent, right? I mean, you've been putting 3 shows out a week every week for again,
and that might be it. I mean, no one knows the mystery behind Facebook's algorithm, so it could be that.
Yeah.
Right.
But we're going to break 1,000 at some point today, and at some point I want to have those. Hopefully within the next 3 to 4 months, where they're popular enough, I'll create a Patreon page from there, and then I'll have extra content there, and then you have to pay for that, and so hopefully everything just builds on top of each other, and builds the audience as we go.
It's awesome.
Well, I'm excited to keep watching and see where you take those shows, and more importantly, what you're doing next for film, because I want to see what you do with these.
Yeah, you and I talked about it. Maybe we'll be able to work on something else down the road, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm anxious to see how it looks once it's all done too. Hopefully by the end of the year, that's my plan. Is
to have this completed.
Have this shot by the end of the year.
Oh, shot
and done in the can by the end of the year.
It's ambitious. We'll definitely keep following up with you, because as soon as it's out there, we're going to be tagging it and posting it and sharing it.
So that is it's ambitious, but that's all I do.
Yep. Do you want to go ahead and plug anything else? I know you mentioned your shows, but do you have a handle people can find you at or anything like that?
I'm more on IG than anything else, so you can follow me on Sidney Smith, SIDNEY, Smith Creative, CRE, the number 8, TIV. And then you can go to my website and follow all things Sidney Smith at Sidney Smith Creative, same spelling, .com.
Cool. Awesome. Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and we were really excited to have you. And hopefully we get to talk again sometime soon.
I hope so. Thank you.